Welcome back to the Caspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to talk about the future outlook of Caspa. So yesterday I stumbled upon this tweet by this user, and they asked a series of questions regarding Caspa. And these questions are valid, and I think he's trying to get the point across that since Caspa doesn't have any current adoption at a large scale, comparing it to Bitcoin, it's like, why is this going to be the next big thing? There's no adoption there, and honestly, I just don't understand this logic of people trying to critique Caspa, saying that it's so behind Bitcoin, like it'll never get to that level of adoption, this and that. And it's like, well, just like anything that's new, it's not going to be accepted by everyone at the start. I mean, like Bitcoin took 13, 14 years to get to where it is today, and it still doesn't even have like an ETF. It's only legalized as legal tender in one country, which is El Salvador, which only proves that, it is possible to be done. But I think Caspa here presents a lot of improvements to the crypto space that it simply just cannot be ignored. So their first question is, which businesses is using Caspa? So just to kind of clarify, I'm going to just be showing you guys basically what Caspa has achieved already to show that it actually is doing something. So you can go to the Caspa merchants section in the website, and you could see here that Caspa has actually been connected with up to 28 different merchants. So these could be online stores or physical businesses. Most of them have been online stores. You see, this is mining, this is tech, this is an online store. I believe there's not too many physical stores, which of course it's a little bit too early for that to actually exist. But this is in Missouri here. This over here is a actual store right here. This is in Turkey, a store that's accepting Caspa. And then this is also another place right here in Texas that's actually accepting Caspa. So we can clearly see that, there are businesses, there are people that are accepting Caspa for sure. But I think the most interesting partnerships that Caspa is achieving is this partnership with CoinPal, because little do people know, I mentioned this in the news video the other day, but CoinPal has actually decided to launch a global credit card that supports Caspa top-ups, enabling CAS holders to seamlessly make transactions worldwide and fostering the widespread adoption and utilization of cryptocurrencies. So this is a business, this is a company that is actually adopting Caspa and trying to make it go mainstream. I mean, imagine having a credit card and all your purchases round up, and then they send it gets straight to your wallet address, your Caspa address, to just keep making you some Caspa, kind of without you really realizing it, but you're investing a little bit more into Caspa. And not only that, I think Ice River being in the space is huge for Caspa, because this is a company that's a mining company that they've dedicated their whole entire company to only Caspa. I mean, that's pretty significant. This is an investment into the future of Caspa practically, because these mining rigs cost money to make. And then when they sell these rigs, they have to make a profit, and they believe that Caspa is going to provide them those profits, especially through mining. They wouldn't do this unless they thought there was a future potential of Caspa, because mining would not make sense if the price of Caspa continues to decline for the long term. So the fact that there is a company like Ice River that's dedicated solely only to Caspa, you can come here and click the shop. It's only Caspa miners, which is really, really cool. So, you're asking the question, which businesses is using Cast? I gave you some examples of how Caspa is actually being adopted. Now they said which government is using Caspa. Now obviously these questions are just not questions to be thrown out of cryptocurrency that's only about a year old. But if you are interested in this kind of news, there was a whole ambassador event that was in Uganda, which is in Africa. And they were actually able to onboard about like 60 people into Caspa. They made an African Twitter page, Kaspa Africa Twitter, so that there could be more adoption in this area of the world. So this is proof, this is, look, Kaspa education at the university in Uganda. And they're over here literally teaching people about Kaspa and the new technology and teaching people why it is better than Bitcoin in terms of use for payments. So if we go back to his tweet here, he also says, how is Cas going to change the world if everyone always says we don't need a second or better Bitcoin? And the funny thing about this question is this question to me makes Kaspa so bullish. Why? Because Kaspa is in the same conversation as Bitcoin. Not many cryptocurrencies can put themselves in the same conversations as Bitcoin. If you're putting, it's like if some people try to be like, oh, Shiba or Dogecoin is the next Bitcoin. To say something like that, people are going to think you're kind of crazy. If you're saying something like Cardano is the next Bitcoin, they just don't compare because they cannot be in the same conversation. And this is due to the fact of Kaspa's origins and how Kaspa has decided to go back to the roots of crypto, which is why I'm in this crypto space right now, because Kaspa's vision is going back to those familiar roots, those foundational roots, which was a crypto, which a currency that would allow for payments to be globally done without a central entity controlling, and that it's permissionless, and that it's an electronic cash system. And that's what Bitcoin was meant to be. That was what the whole marketing of Bitcoin was, this electronic cash system. But clearly by the time we come into like 2017, Bitcoin's hitting $1,000 and it's becoming super slow. Fees are becoming insanely high. And then the Bitcoin community basically just splits. You get Bitcoin Cash, and then you get all these other forks trying to actually continue what Bitcoin should have done on the main network. They should have just improved it, but instead of improving it, they decided to keep it as it is and change this narrative into a digital gold, which was not the original purpose. And this is why I always say Kaspa is freedom money. Kaspa is actually the true digital electronic cash system in the space now. And you really can't compare it to other cryptos because Kaspa is also fair launched. It wasn't launched with VCs, ICOs, and pre-allocated, pre-mined coins to the team. None of that kind of stuff. It was fairly launched just like Bitcoin, and whoever found it in the very beginning mined it with the community. And it's community built. We the people actually dictate the future of Kaspa. Me making this YouTube channel is me contributing to the future of Kaspa because I believe in the project. It welcomes anyone. It doesn't discriminate anybody. Kaspa is meant for all. And this is what is very, very good about Kaspa, is that it's trustworthy because the tech behind Kaspa gives it that trust because we can rely on the system to always work. As long as things continue to go as they are going right now with developments and everything, the trust only grows. And at the end of the day, cryptocurrencies are only successful because the trust that they are able to build with the community. And Kaspa's is really easy to trust. And that's just mainly because it's built by one of the most intelligent people in the space. I mean, we're talking about a person who is behind the Ethereum white paper. Jonathan Samploninsky is in the Ethereum white paper, and he's in many different white papers. This founder has 10 plus years of proof and credibility. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, in my opinion, because of the fact that this can't happen again. Tell me a project that has a founder that can go back 10 years in the past and you can find their name on a white paper and all that kind of stuff. And they launched a coin that's literally following the same principles that make Bitcoin great. You just really can't find another project that can compare. And the fact that Kaspa's proof of work and proving that it's actually solving all the issues that proof of work has, that's just straight up innovation. That is new technology, and no one's competing in that space. There is no competitor to Kaspa right now, and that's what makes it super bullish. On top of that, I don't know if people remember, but Dr. Martin from Uphold has also said this a while ago. He said 21 shares to offer planning investment vehicle with only proof of work like BTC, CAS, etc. traded on exchanges. And if you don't know about 21 shares is like a company that allows institutions to invest into cryptocurrencies. And the people who are behind this, you could see even Cathie Wood is behind the board of 21 shares because they're interested in new cryptocurrencies. And institutions are definitely going to be interested into cryptocurrencies that have new tech that's actually innovative. And not only that, they're going to want something that is going to be resistant to the regulatory pressure that we've been seeing in the space. And obviously, Bitcoin has not received that kind of regulatory pressure. Right now, it's about to receive an ETF filing, and they may get approved. And Kaspa's following in those same principles of Bitcoin that makes it actually trustworthy and reliable and protected against that ultra risk of government regulation, especially with things that we're seeing with Hex, XRP, Tron, and so many other cryptocurrencies that are getting notices from the SEC in America. With Kaspa, you don't have to worry about that risk. And that's why I only invest into Kaspa right now, because I believe that I don't have to worry. I could sleep well at night knowing that I don't have an added risk on top of the fact that I'm already investing into crypto, which is already risky. But not only that, I'm going to buy a crypto that's held by 50% is held by the team and that they're getting sued by the government. What kind of investment strategy is that? In my opinion, it just doesn't make sense as an investment outlook to buy something that could have that kind of risk in the long term. With Kaspa, you don't really have to worry about that. And now Dr. Martin has announced that the first Kaspa transaction on our institutional platform Uphold Ascent is cause for celebration. And Uphold has recently launched an institutional kind of exchange which allows institutions to buy cryptocurrencies. And Dr. Martin is really advocating for Kaspa to get adopted by institutions. And the fact that there are no VCs, there are no ICOs, these companies did not get an early chance to get Kaspa before the public did. No, the devs decided to give Kaspa to the community first and the public first. And now the institutions in the future are definitely going to have their eyes on Kaspa as it continues to grow. At the end of the day, I see Kaspa as just another fad that people are going to call it. They're just going to be like, just like how they called the internet maybe just a passing fad as millions give up on it. This today looks crazy. Like there was people that literally thought the internet wasn't going to be successful. And then they looked at Bitcoin and thought the same exact thing, that, Bitcoin's just a fad. It's not going to be successful. And look where it is today. But now that we have Kaspa, it literally is just innovation, which is part of history. Technology always improves. And if you have a pro-innovative mind, you're for innovation, you're for looking new technologies that are new so that you can invest in them early before they become popular, Kaspa is the only alternative to Bitcoin, in my opinion. And I'm not calling for Kaspa to completely take over Bitcoin, but I am calling for the fact that Kaspa has a rightful place in the space and could be valued very, very high. I mean, we're talking about innovative tech that's not been seen before in a proof of work, but is still staying true to those core principles that many Bitcoiners and fundamentalists in crypto like, just like myself. And the improvements that Kaspa has been able to achieve and show to the world is absolutely insane. And it's crazy that the devs decided to just give it to us, the community, instead of giving it to these private companies and institutions before us. So, Bitcoin is the narrative for Bitcoin is a digital gold, and they've failed at being that actual electronic cash system currency. But Kaspa is marketed as a digital silver, meant to be more liquid and a lot more faster, and also a store of value on top of that. Just as much as it is going to be a type of cash system, it can also be a store of value, just like Bitcoin. And I think the both of those coming together, store value and cash, liquid cash, fast, reliable, trustworthy, and secure, when those come together, I think that creates a digital currency that's meant for the future. And this was one of the quotes from the book of Kaspa, if you haven't gotten it yet, that I really liked. And this is what Nathaniel said in his book. He said, "We're not sending a rocket to the moon. We are discussing a cryptocurrency intended for use here on Earth." And I said, "Cash can be the future of money. Understand what you hold." So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, kind of explaining a little bit about the future outlook of Kaspa and making you think a little bit bigger than just the short-term outlook of what Kaspa can offer you. So please, if you guys do enjoyed this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support me more, consider joining my Patreon, which the links are down below. If you haven't gotten your Tangent hardware wallet, please consider getting that using my code CASPASILVER at the checkout. You can get 10% off. You could choose between 2 or 3 cards. This is so that you can keep your Kaspa offline, away from exchanges, because if you keep your Kaspa on an exchange, you could lose your Kaspa because you do not have the right to your keys. This keeps your Kaspa offline and away from exchanges. So check the link down below if you guys are interested in that. So with all that being said, don't be average, be different.